Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 84 of Big Brother All-Stars. This is Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. We're there. This is the last night of overnight feeds. I've had a blast putting them on, but this time tomorrow, there won't be anyone left in the house, except maybe for some construction workers tearing everything down, getting ready for Big Brother 23. But tonight, we've got the finale. One of these three people is going to walk out of the door with a check for $500,000, or at least whatever's left after you pay your taxes. Someone's going to be very happy by this time, another 12 hours or so. Someone's going to be incredibly happy. But we're not through yet. We do still have some conversations going on in the house. I wasn't sure that we'd still have the live feeds at this point in time, that they may have already cut off, but Big Brother was nice to us. They gave us a last little bit of opportunity to see how the house guests are adapting, how they're adjusting, how they're getting ready for the finale tomorrow night. Not a whole lot of strategic talk at this point in time. Everyone's pretty much got everything figured out, I think, in terms of speeches, what they're going to do. They're mentally preparing themselves for what's going on. But we do see some conversations. Enzo, little bit of talking to the camera, soliloquies. Cody and Nicole seem a little bit more relaxed, but a few things happen during the evening that show everyone's a little bit stressed out. So let's get right to it with that in mind. We'll start off in the photo room. Enzo is talking to the cameras, to himself. He is saying that, yo, man, Nicole, she is terrified to take me to the final two. She doesn't think that she can beat me in a final two. Well, I don't think she wants to take Enzo, but it's not because she thinks that she has a better chance against Cody than she does against Enzo. Maybe she does. I don't think that's the case. I think it has to do with less about gameplay and more about relationships and connections and all that. Maybe Nicole will win, and maybe Nicole will prove us wrong, and she will take Enzo. But Enzo doesn't think that's the case. He doesn't think there's any way that Nicole would ever take him. Maybe a little chance with Cody, but nothing with Nicole that he's thinking about. He is debating whether Cody or Nicole, either one, would actually take him to final two. And in the past, he's talked about that he thinks there's a better chance that Cody would, but he laughs a little bit later on in the evening, say, it'd be funny if actually Nicole's the one that wants to take me more so than Cody. The reality is either one of them probably would be better served taking Enzo than the other person. The reality is I don't think that's going to happen. I hope I'm surprised tomorrow, but I think Enzo is going to finish in third place, but I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. So at this point, meanwhile, while Enzo's in the love room talking about that, Nicole is painting her toenails. She's getting ready for tomorrow night. Cody is making a pork chop, soft burrito type something or other in the kitchen, it appears. At one point, then Cody is playing backgammon against himself. They're all playing backgammon tonight, but not really against each other. Cody does it, Nicole does it as well, playing against themselves. I guess that guarantees a little more victories to finish up your season in Big Brother. But he's playing backgammon himself until Nicole asks for help putting on nail polish on one of her hands. She's had problems doing it on her dominant hand. So she asked him to put on the fingernail polish. He comes in and does it for her. She says it's great, that it looks great. But then later we see her taking a lot of it back off. So yeah, maybe so, maybe not. But at that point, Nicole starts talking. She wants to ask Big Brother for dinner. Their last night in there, she's figuring they should get some big fancy meal. And I don't know if that's standard in seasons past or not, but she thinks it's expected. I don't think it ever happens unless I just missed it in the feeds. I don't think they ever got their meals. But we start seeing some finality to the season when I think it's Cody walks into the storage room, and there are the three suitcases. Once you see those suitcases, you know your days in the house are limited. Cody grabs, I think he grabs all three of them, but grabs them, pulls them out, grabs his suitcase, immediately starts packing. It takes him all of, half an hour, and he's packed up, ready to go. No big deal. Nicole takes just a little bit longer. She starts to pack, but she tells Cody she's jealous of how quickly he did it. She starts to pack, but she's got stuff spread out everywhere. She gets a lot of it done, but then she goes into the bathroom, starts packing up her toiletries. Later in the evening, she's still packing up. At one point, she says she doesn't know how she's going to fit it all in. And then one to left why is last season, myself and a lot of other house guests, because of the costumes we get, the extra shoes in competitions, things like that, somehow I just couldn't get everything back into the suitcase the way I started. So I just took a black plastic trash bag, put the extra stuff in there, tied it off, tied it onto the handle of the suitcase, figured that they'd get the message and get those extra clothes to me eventually. And they did. So I think Nicole's going to do the same thing also, just to make sure she can get everything out the door and back home with her. So eventually, Nicole gives up on getting food from Big Brother. She starts fixing her own dinner while also trying to play solitaire, trying to figure out how to play solitaire. I'm not sure if she just doesn't quite understand the way you play, but it seems like she's not necessarily real comfortable with how you actually play solitaire. But she's trying to do that while she's eating dinner. Cody, meanwhile, is in the kitchen talking about how he's just not feeling well. Again, someone's going to walk out of the house tomorrow or tonight with a check for $500,000. So you couldn't help but feel stressed under those kind of conditions, those situations. Cody's saying he doesn't feel well. His chest is just pressing in on him. He can't sleep. Stress has got to be getting to everyone. And we're seeing that from Cody. Enzo also is stressed. Enzo's in the love room. And I mentioned Cody and Nicole both playing backgammon, the solitaire type backgammon. Well, Enzo's talking about, I guess he hears some of the clinking of the backgammon pieces. And he eventually says, yo, man, I'm so tired of hearing backgammon. I don't want to ever hear it again. So he's just fed up with the whole thing. He's ready to get out of there. Cody says something similar later in the evening. He says, once I get out of this house, I am never playing backgammon ever again. I don't ever want to have anything to do with it, ever. Nicole's a little different. She said, I'm going to teach Victor how to play. We're going to both start playing backgammon. I think it's great. So there you go, Nicole. I love backgammon. I had a blast playing it in the house, and I'm glad we had it in there. It took away a lot of hours that otherwise would just been pure boredom in that house. So Nicole's ready to keep playing. The other two, not so much. Nicole and Cody are in the kitchen. Again, Nicole's playing the backgammon against herself. Cody has brought the wooden puzzle from the upstairs upstairs lounge, and he's brought it downstairs. He's trying to put it together. That whole season, they took those puzzles apart on day 1 or day 2. No one's put them together since that point in time. They'll walk out of the house. Those puzzles still won't be put together, but they're trying to find ways to burn through the last little bit of boredom inside the house. Eventually they start playing card games with each other, go fish, liars, poker, some things like that. I have a lot of fun doing that. At one point, though, this is interesting. Nicole and Cody are starting to talk about how Enzo is no longer hanging out with them. And we really haven't seen that here lately. They've hung out a little bit. Enzo has pretty much stayed in either the photo room or the love room and just kind of gone his own way. Cody's saying, look, he really only spent a day hanging out with us, and then he's been sleeping ever since. A lot of sleeping taking place in this house, and Big Brother's not calling him out on it. But that's really not what Enzo needs to do. He needs to be planting seeds of suspicion between Cody and Nicole every waking moment he has. Don't beg for the votes. Just get in there and talk about how strong the other person's game is, how the jury's just going to love them, and how much respect they're going to get. Anything that can be said to make the other person nervous about taking the other one to the final 2. But he's not doing that. He's just kind of distanced himself, almost checked out in a way. In preparation. I think he's mentally preparing himself for the idea of finishing 3rd. He's not happy about it, though, as we're getting ready to talk about. At this point in time, Cody and Nicole are talking about social media, social influencer. Nicole is telling Cody that he can make a lot of money doing it, especially now that he's just getting out of the house, that he ought to consider doing it. She's saying that she is the only Big Brother player that can make a living off of social media influencing so far. Not sure that's really the case. I know there's a few other BB alums that seem to be doing pretty well out there. But Nicole's pretty comfortable that she's been more successful than others at the social media game. She says that sometimes there's things that she doesn't necessarily want to post or feels like posting, but she realizes that just a single post is the same as working for 4 weeks as a nurse. And so she does it anyway. That gives you a feel for how much social media influencers actually could make it. It's pretty nice little bit of change, isn't it? All right, Cody and Enzo are in the photo room. They're deflating Mulan. Mulan is looking a little skinny, a little gaunt at this point in time because they've got Mulan all deflated, packed up in Enzo's suitcase. Looks like Mulan and Enzo are going to get to be lifetime friends back at Enzo's place. Cody's talking about when they get out of the house. He said, man, I hope my girlfriend, I hope Christy shows up to pick me up at the airport. She's got a big old bottle of wine sitting in that car ready for me. So they're all starting to envision. And again, we heard last night the families sounds like aren't going to be there at the finale. So they're all figuring they just want to get on a plane, go back home, see their families. I don't blame them at all. Enzo is saying that, talking about, he's in the love room, telling his ex to grab his kids and saying, tell the kids that I'm not going to be in final 2 because Cody and Nicole are just too scared that I'm going to beat them both, or either one if they take me. And so they're just scared of dad is why I'm not going to the final 2. So he's wanting his kids to kind of be mentally prepared for what he thinks is going to be happen. He does mention as well, again, he's acting a little like he's checked out, but this tells me otherwise. He is saying that if he does get cut by either Cody or Nicole, that whoever wins this final comp doesn't take him along, that he is going to snap. He is going to go off on the other 2. There's no friendship, anything else. It is straight up. He's going to go off on them, and it's going to be hell to pay. Well, Enzo's talked about making big moves in the past, and we haven't quite seen them. If he doesn't get taken forward, is he really going to go ballistic and do all these things? Maybe. I suspect not. I think he'll accept it. But, hey, I'm looking forward to finale night to find out for sure. But, yeah, he is going to be very disappointed. Even though he's expecting it, he's still going to be disappointed if he doesn't get taken to the final 2. Enzo's doing a lot of hanging out in the bathroom and then pacing for the rest of the night. He's upstairs walking the hallways forever, mumbling a little bit. I don't know if he's practicing a jury speech just in case or just what he's saying. It's hard to hear. But eventually Cody comes into the bathroom where Enzo's at. Enzo is warning Cody, saying, yo, do not let her mess with your head. I know she's trying to. Don't let her mess with your head. She's already won her money. This money is yours, Cody. Don't let her take it away from you. Eventually Cody leaves, though. Says, I don't have my microphone on, and so I've got to leave. If you don't have your mic on, Big Brother will call you out. Sometimes they'll call you out over the whole house. They do that. Then Nicole knows that Cody and Enzo are talking together, and Cody doesn't want that. Plus, he probably just doesn't want to have to talk about the whole thing with Enzo. So Cody leaves without ever telling Enzo whether he's going to take Nicole or Enzo to the final 2 if he wins the final comp. He just leaves that as a non-committal answer about who he's taking. And with Cody gone, Enzo says, he's terrible. He'd be terrible not to take me. It'd be crazy not to take me. Saying that, hey, I would have taken Cody if I was on there. Cody needs to take me. Fair is fair. He's talking about why it made sense for his game to leave Nicole in the game earlier, that he was counting on Memphis or Christmas to get some wins to cut Cody or Nicole. He's saying it's not his fault that the 2 of them didn't come through at the end. They came so close with the pumpkins in the basket, but didn't make it happen. He's saying he loved David. He didn't want David to go, but David wasn't going to win anything like he expected Christmas to do. And that's what he needed to try to get out Cody and Nicole. And it just never happened. He's saying that, hey, if Cody takes me, then my whole plan worked. Everything works just as I planned. I just need Cody to take me. Well, that's true. He's hoping that Cody isn't lying about taking Enzo to the final 2. He doesn't think he is. I think he is. Enzo, I think he is. But maybe I'm proven wrong. Saying he never went on the block. He'll finagle a jury, which is why Nicole and Cody really don't want to take him because they know in front of the jury that Enzo will be able to capture the votes that he needs. Enzo just wants to have a chance in front of the jury. He's again talking about how crazy it is that Nicole might take Cody over him. Enzo and Nicole see each other in the kitchen, but they just don't really talk. Enzo later claims that she's even terrified to talk to me. Enzo's pacing upstairs again. Finally, he's to the photo room where he's eating chips. And finally, we get lights out. So, house guests are all in bed. What's happening tonight? We should have a jury roundtable. We should have the final competition. Sounds like it may be pretty fancy based on all the construction that's still going on. Jury speeches, a minute or so of campaign speeches from each of the 2. Nicole's speech is about 10 minutes, but she's going to have to squeeze it into a minute or so. Unless they expand it out, it is a 2-hour finale. The jury questions, a vote. We're going to find out who wins $500,000. It's going to be fun. Guys, Thanks for everyone, for viewing all of these episodes, for all the support you've shown me. Best part about being a Big Brother contestant is being able to interact with all the Big Brother fans afterwards. I love it. Thank you so much. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll give a final Big Brother recap at that point in time. And then after that, Cliff Notes is still going to be here. We'll be talking about other topics going forward. Cheers. Y'all have a great one, guys. SKD 143. Bye, guys.